A visit to a place where the slaves were ripped from their African homeland is a sobering experience. President Clinton, then President Bush talked about that in their visits to Gorée Island in Senegal. The last place I visited was an island near Badagry, Nigeria. In Badagry, Nigeria, west of Lagos, a lot of things are done as they have been for centuries. The boats used today are not that much different, except they have outboard motors instead of human rowers. From the 15th to the 19th centuries, similar boats transported maybe hundreds of thousands of slaves through this port.
The iron on their neck, one will be here, one will be here, they will be in a row, moving along with each other.
Ashamu Fadipe is director of the Slave Museum here at Badagry.
These are the actual chains.
These are the actual chains.
The misery these chains must have contained. These tools of slavery were kept through the generations by families in Badagry, he said, before the chains made their way to this museum.
During the period of slave trade, we have the Dutch, we have the Portuguese, we have the Spanish, we have the British, we have the French.
And still standing in the town is the Brazilian barracoons, those holding quarters that all of the nations had for the slaves brought from the interior, held by the hundreds in these buildings until ships arrived for transport to the Americas.
The Yoruba are the major people that were taken away from this place because it's very open to the Yoruba country.
As in the past, slavery is a big part of this town's attraction, now for tourism. So I took the Badagry slave route from the barracoons through the jetty to a boat to cross first the calm lagoon. What fear they must have had, many from the interior who had never seen this much water before.
We are now at the point of no return.
Once on the island, the slaves then had a 1-mile march to the sea. It was a tough walk, which may be one reason the slavers had a watering hole midway along the path, a so-called attenuation well. On this hot and windy beach, the slaves were loaded onto ships, and they disappeared from the African continent forever. It was something to think about, and the Lagos state government recently erected here, among the palms, a thinking place. This monument, which they named Ark of the Last Point. The inscription reads in part, "Dedicated to the memory of our brothers and sisters taken away as slaves to unknown destination." I'd like to thank you for joining me on my African journey. Also, if you're interested in tracing African ancestry through DNA, it is expensive, about $350, but you can get in touch with the people who do it by calling African Ancestry in D.C. at 202-439-0641, or by contacting them online at AfricanAncestry.com. You can also access that website by going to our News Channel 8 website at news8.net. They can also trace a male and female ancestry. One caveat: about a third of African American men trace back not to Africa but to Europe because of sexual relations between masters and slave women. Even so, African American Ancestry says that they can pinpoint your European roots. Well, I'm Sam Ford. Thank you for joining our African journey. Happy Kwanzaa, Happy New Year.
Ela dá-me uma